All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the November 19th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. First Selectman Colin Mullen, I call this meeting to order. If everyone would please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll open up the floor to public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? All right. Is there any public comment on Zoom? Any public comment on Zoom? All right, seeing none. Before, did you see something?
No.
Before we move to item 3, I'll just congratulate everyone for being re-elected to the board and welcome our new member, Kathy Dunai. Welcome. Item number 3 is discussion and approval of the minutes from the November 5th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen.
This is Kathy Harrington. I move that they be adopted as drafted.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Kathy, you want to abstain? Oh, you don't, oh, no, you should.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was at the last meeting, but I wasn't a board member.
You should abstain. Yeah.
Abstain.
Yeah.
All right, motion carries 4-0, 1 abstention. Item number 4 is the first organizational meeting of the Board of Selectmen. So item A is adoption of the rules of procedure. I'll entertain a motion to adopt Robert's Rules of Order.
So moved, Kathy Harrington.
Motion has been made. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, just one suggestion.
Yep.
So with the Board of Selectmen, because in the charter, it only requires one you don't need a second in order to propose a motion.
Correct.
So I would just suggest modifying the motion so it's Robert's Rules of Order as may be amended in the charter.
Accept that friendly amendment from the town attorney
All right.
for my motion.
Motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Thank you, Jim. All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item B is process for calling special meetings. Anyone have any issues with what was presented? 24-hour notice, no change on the agenda.
Public comment.
Public
No,
comment.
this is Kathy Harrington. I move that it be adopted as was presented to us. The process for calling special meetings.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item C is designation of ex officio members in the absence of first selectman. I sent you guys the list of what everyone was designated to, and I said if nobody wants any changes, we could simply take Selectman Shavitz's appointments and give them to Kathy Dunai.
Yes, the only thing I have a question, I mentioned it to Derek, is I'm on the Agri-Science Advisory Council, so he's gonna check into it and just make sure that that's not an issue. And we can get back to me.
Yeah, and if you want to, in the interim, if you want to switch, I know you talked beforehand about switching that assignment.
Okay.
If you want to do that, that's probably the easier resolution. There's no direct conflict because there's no.
Is that Board of Ed?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it falls under the Board of Ed, so it may put Kathy in a perceived conflict. So I think probably the best move is to just take it off and reassign it to another board member.
Yeah. Why don't we, I don't know if I have to make a motion for this, but why don't we take me off the police commission and put Kathy on,
Okay.
and then you could put me on the Board of Ed.
So if you want to make a motion as presented with those following changes.
So moved.
Motion has been made. Is there any discussion?
Thank you.
Sure.
Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item D is designation of second selectman. So I just want to point out that Kathy Harrington is the second selectman currently, and I think you've done an excellent job when I have been away, so I would recommend Kathy stay there, unless anyone has anything.
This is Claire Blanco. I'll make a motion that we designate Kathy Harrington as second selectman.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, there was a long-standing policy that the the longest serving selectman was gonna be the second selectman. And then after the last election, you said it was going to be the top vote getter. So now we're changing it again?
Well, yeah, I was just saying that I thought she was doing a great job, and I didn't see any reason for change, but you are correct, that's how we did it last time, so
Okay.
if you feel like we should go that way.
Well, that was the policy that you set, and I think we should stick with it.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Do you have-
I'll abstain, I'm not aware of that information that you guys set.
All right, then the motion carries 3-1, one abstention. Item E is designated signer of checks. So last time it was the first selectman, the treasurer, and a member from this board. So if anybody wants to volunteer, it was Jerry Mahoney. All I have to do is sign checks for me. I mean, it's not a heavy lift. Do I have any volunteers? Kathy, Pete?
I'm around if you want me to stop in.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I don't have any
That'd be
issues.
great.
Any other recommendations?
So this is Kathy Harrington, I make a motion that Kathy Deni be the designated signer of checks,
All right. Along with the first selectman.
along with the
Town
first
treasurer.
selectman and the town treasurer, sorry.
All right. Motion has been made, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item F is authorize the first selectman to approve tax rebates up to $2,500 per individual rebate. Issues?
No, this is Kathy Harrington, so moved.
All right, the motion has been made, is there any discussion?
I think I mentioned this last year, is that enough? Like, should we raise that, or do we think 2,500 is good?
I think we might have raised it like a year or two ago,
Yeah.
or maybe 2 years ago, if I
Yeah.
recall.
Originally, it was $1,000.
Okay.
And we decided to increase it because there was a lot of rebates that were coming in just over that. I would say I think 2,500 is a pretty good number. If we go over that, we're starting to get into, larger tax bills, and those probably need consideration by the board and an explanation of why we're refunding that money.
Okay.
Was there a motion?
I did.
All right, the motion has been made. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item G is approval of existing policies. I send you guys all of the approved policies that we have, which can be found on our website.
Thank you, that was very helpful to have them all in one place.
Thank Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, thank you.
But that's where they go, under the government section, if you guys are ever looking for them. So,
There wasn't many, right? There 5 or 6?
um,
Do you want, because, Claire, you weren't here when we, at the last organizational meeting, right? Because Jerry was here.
No, I was not here.
Should we
This
go
is my
through them
first
one by one?
I mean, if you want to make a change, or, I don't think we need to go, there's
No,
1,
okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, I have 8. Yeah.
Are those ever reviewed or updated, or?
Yeah, so like, example is the building one, or
Yeah.
the bid and purchase policy, we've reviewed and changed. And I think on the document, it actually says the date adopted or changed. So you'll see like,
Okay, yeah.
some of them have
May
like an
1st,
August or
2024,
May.
yeah.
Yeah, so we do tend to bring them up every now and then.
I have a question on that one, and it says give back, and who are you giving the money back to?
Which one?
On the building refund policy. Administrative cost 75%, plan review 50%,
Oh, yeah.
given back.
To the applicant.
Okay.
Does anyone have any issues with any of these, or do we want to adopt them? I think the motion would be to continue the existing policies in full force and effect until the next organizational meeting after the next election.
So this is Kathy Harrington, I make a motion that we continue the existing policies in full force and effect until the next organizational meeting after the next election.
Motion has been made, is there any discussion?
Just that I'll be voting no due to the flag policy.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Kathy, I didn't hear.
I am going to I know there's a motion on the table. I will approve it, but we will be able to address these during that election time if something comes up that we don't agree with or needs amending, correct?
Yeah, you can
Okay,
make a motion
all right.
to add to the agenda if you'd like. All right, so your vote is for, all
Okay, I'll approve them.
right, then the motion carries 4-1. All right, moving on to item 5 is discussion of resident noise complaint on North Stone Street. So you guys are aware that we did end up issuing a cease and desist by state marshal to the residents for whom the complaints were about, for violations within the zoning regulations. I want to thank Attorney Donnelly for helping us with that. It was expedited, I guess we could say, it's fairly quick. But the question now becomes, do we want to continue to pursue a noise ordinance or leave things as they are? So I will open up the floor to discussion. I'm open to either, or, I know Pete, you might
Yeah,
want to continue.
This is Pete Hill. I think we should go forward with the ordinance. If some people I know are not gonna like it, and I'm sure that we will put in contingencies for one-off events, weddings, graduation, farm equipment, and the like. But if people don't like it, they can do exactly what they did with the blight ordinance, they can vote no at the town meeting. So I think we should go forward with it, and because if it happens again, there's no recourse for, not just these people on South Stone Street, anywhere, doesn't matter where it is. There's literally no recourse for the town. And I think we need to put something in place so that something will happen if it's a continued problem.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's for these one-offs that
Yeah,
rarely happen, but when it happens, we don't have anything, and zoning regulations
Right.
to enforce.
I think that's a good point, because the Right to Farm Act covers the farmers and the tractors and spraying at night or whatever, so that state law covers them in order to do it, but when it's repetitious and habitual, I actually went to North Stone Street for one of these concerts, and it was incredibly loud. I've also had people from Ratley Road say that they can hear the music. Now, that's quite a distance away. So I agree, I think you can start something. It might have to get tweaked quite a bit, but I think the process should begin to do something in place for the continual type of thing that's happening here.
This is Claire Blanco, just one thought. In the situation on North Stone Street, we do have recourse, correct? By way of the cease and desist, so if something like this were to happen in the future, we can take a similar approach? Or is it really each situation so unique that we can't make that assumption?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to look at it is each situation is unique.
Okay.
I think the concern that the police department has is there's not an ordinance that they can enforce when they get a noise complaint in real time, right? And that is, I think, probably the strongest argument in favor of an ordinance.
Okay.
You know, what occurred here fell under the zoning regulations for a variety of different reasons. It was habitual, it was, it sort of almost had a commercial tenor to it, it was being advertised as an event venue.
Right.
So it, you know, under a number of cases that we were able to identify after the last meeting, I mean, and that the resident who presented brought up, which we did a phenomenal job giving us information. I mean, I think that situation was very, very unique to what we would normally see.
Sure.
But, you know, I know the department's concern is, other than saying, you know, hey, quiet down, there's no teeth they have to enforce anything.
But what about a breach of peace or disorderly according to the statute? Could that have been enforced?
Yeah, the department had a memo, and I'll make sure that gets over to you. It was in some of Bill Hawkins' materials.
Okay.
But there are severe limitations to their ability to enforce those things when you're talking about a peaceful assembly that's disturbing neighbors because of noise.
Okay.
And that really requires a noise ordinance and for them to do anything with effect.
All right. Kathy, any thoughts? Or Claire?
Just that
Further?
question.
So, this is Kathy Harrington. First I wanted to thank Attorney Donnelly for stepping in in really taking care of this one particular situation so quickly, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I'm sure the residents on North Stone appreciate that also. I'm not particularly interested in pursuing a noise ordinance only because of our experience with the blight ordinance. I put in a significant amount of work on the blight ordinance. I worked really hard on editing that and looking at it, and it was not a power grab, and it wasn't all these things that people said it was at the town meeting, and it got shot down. And I get it, the residents voted, they didn't want it. I'm not eager to go through that entire process again. However, if somebody else on this board wants to step up and take a look at the draft that Attorney Donnelly and Colin put together and is willing to do the bulk of the work and bring it to us, I'm happy to look at it then and consider it and potentially support, voting in favor of it to go to a town meeting, but I'm just not inclined to put in all the extra work myself. I ultimately think it will be shot down again. People are gonna look at it and say, this is another power grab, what's the problem? They took care of that situation, we don't need this, we've lived this long without it. That's just how I feel.
Well, I think we've made it this far with the ordinance, so with us reviewing it, Bill reviewing it, PD zoning enforcement. If you two wanna take a look at it and work on it as a team, however long it takes, and then bring it back. I'll put it back on the agenda.
I
That's it.
think, the hard part is that it took how many years for this finally to come to light too? I mean, these poor people suffered weekend and weekend and weekend, and if that was me, you had a lot of patience. I definitely would have, wanted something done, so, all you can do is present the information to the town. If they say yes, fine, if they say no, at least we tried.
So right now, we have a couple no's, a couple yeses. Do you guys want to take what we have currently as a draft, or add whatever you think is needed, and then let me know when you're ready, and we'll put it back on the agenda?
If it makes sense, I might take one more pass at it and just address some of the comments from the last few meetings, and then circulate that version.
Okay, so how about that? How about you take a look, have a pass through it,
Table it.
we'll share it, and then these two can take a look at it, and when they think it's good, we'll bring it back forward on the agenda.
Yeah.
That sound good?
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right, perfect. Item number 6 is discussion and consideration to sell property at 1440 Mountain Road due to structural damage and refer to town meeting. So I sent you guys a little letter from the DPW director, Lee Corbett. What happened to the property there, and perfect timing, he's walking in now, so. Lee, I'll have you join us, we just got to your item. So basically, Lee, I'll just have you explain what happened and
Sure.
what the results are.
So on November 5th, I received a call from Officer Nelson that a tree had fallen down onto Old Firehouse 2. We had live electric wires that were down, and he asked me to stop by and take a look. So upon arriving at the building, I saw a very large tree. It hit the corner, the western corner of the building, and caused some significant damage. I believe you all have pictures that I sent in to the corner of the building. So I looked at that and took some photos, did a walk around on the building. I immediately noticed on the east side of the building, there is severe deflection on the outside. That being that the building looks like it's got a big curve in it. So I opened the door, went inside, noticed that the garage door was no longer lined up on either side. And also, one photo does show the foundation, the sill plate is actually knocked out of place by quite a bit. It's the deflection we're seeing on the outside, that's where it started, it literally shifted the building off its foundation. So with that, I immediately got a hold of Mike Addington, our building inspector, and had him meet me down there because I felt like the building was going to have to be permanently closed. So Mike met me down there, we spent about 45 minutes going through everything on the building. And at that time, Mike agreed with me and said that from that point on, no one was to be in the building, except for DPW to clear out the belongings of Park and Rec and Sustainable Suffield and Fire Department. So we did that, and Mike then put up a notice that the building was closed. And so I reached out to First Selectman Mall and let him know what was going on, and he said, are you gonna go get me some pricing for what it would take to take care of the building? So I did that, and I believe you all have that in your memo, which is a bare minimum of $64,400 with a maximum of $149,450. And as I put in the memo, I would definitely lean towards the maximum price if a decision's made to try and repair the building. This price did not include what we would need. His first step would be a structural engineer to go in, assess the building, and let us know specifically what would need to be done to get the building back open. My experience is, once you have damage like this and you start opening things up, we're gonna find a lot more damage than is visible, and it's gonna end up costing us even more money. The building is quite old. We did put a new roof on it last year because a tree had struck it last year as well. So we have the roof patched up because we weren't sure how long and the building was gonna be able to stay open. We had a lot of stuff in there, so we didn't want rain water getting in. So that's been done, but it's only a temporary patch just to stop any rainwater or any further damage inside the building. My suggestion to you folks is that the building's beyond repair and it's not within reasonable cost to repair this building at this time.
Thanks, Lou. You know, we talked about this building last year, and what we wanted to do, we decided to do the roof patch just to get through the winter, so there was no moisture damage. And my suggestion would be, it sits on a .13 acre lot, there's really not much to it besides what we did with storage, and we're looking at trying to create a centralized storage building, remove some of that stuff into there.
That was one of my questions, so you're gonna try to get Park and Rec somewhere to be able to put all of their stuff?
So currently, I moved everything from Park and Rec and Sustainable Suffield up to Babs. We had cleaned that out last year when we were doing some engineering of that building to see if we could do something with that building in the future. That didn't end up going anywhere. So we had a cleaned out building, so now we're using that as storage in the meanwhile.
Because if you take the annex down here and it converts over to the Board of Ed, they've got a bunch of stuff in there.
They have the whole
I
backside of the garage,
understand,
yeah.
and then when you're taking out of that little firehouse, so to say, you know, where are we gonna put all that stuff?
It's not just Park and Rec, there's a lot of
There's a
different
lot of stuff.
departments that need
Mhm.
storage space.
So Kathy being new, we actually have been discussing potentially a centralized storage building, which we brought
Okay,
up
good.
through the budget season last year. It was recommended that potentially go through bonding,
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
So we actually,
Where
we have a pretty good plan.
okay, good, didn't realize that. What would you do, because it's a tiny little unapproved lot, would you offer it to one of the abutters, or do you value it? I mean, is it
That's
sold
not-
as is, or,
That's not my decision to make, that would be
Okay.
Why it's on the
Selectmen's.
agenda tonight.
okay,
What do we want to
For
do?
you guys to decide that. I just report the condition of buildings and any issues to you, and then you make the top decision as to what to do with the property or the building. Public Works could take down the building. We have a machine that could take it down. We could get a dumpster there, clean the site up. We could have Eversource come out, disconnect the lines that they just reconnected because they were out in the road and live. There's no gas to the building anymore, so that's not an issue. There's no bathrooms there, so we have no sewer. And we can save quite a bit of money by having it done in-house, if that's what you all should choose to do.
So we, as a board, have to decide what we want to do, and that's why it's worded the way it is on this agenda. 'Cause we would have to sell it, get it approved through town meeting, is that correct? And then it has to go out to bid.
out to bid.
Yeah, this is Kathy Herrick. I don't think we can offer it to abutters, can we? We would have to put it up for sale generally.
We would, yes.
Okay.
Appraise it and put it out for sale?
We could appraise it, but, you know, that's entirely up to the board. So, I mean, technically, the court looks at the value of land, you know, while appraisals are certainly helpful, but the value of land is really what someone's willing to pay for it. So if it were to go out to bid, essentially, and particularly on an open bid process, you'd have, you know, you essentially have an appraised value.
Okay.
I would also think that assessor would be able to help with giving us an idea.
Yeah, last time we talked about it a year ago, we were looking at like maybe $150,000.
Yeah.
Now,
I think
take the
that would be-
structure down and,
Well,
That'd be a home run.
I think that'd be generous.
I shouldn't say that. Is everything out of the building?
Everything's out of the building at this time.
I would suggest that we sell the building. but I would sell it as is. I wouldn't tear it down,
It's
let the
completely
people
up
that,
to you folks.
you know, I don't think the town should have to pay for that. Let the new owners do that.
It's fine.
I mean, if it goes at town meeting, and let it be on them.
With the understanding that they have to fix the building or take it down.
Right, well, it's
Within a
condemned
certain
at this
amount of
point,
time.
right?
It is condemned.
So they'll have to either fix it,
Yep.
which, a building that small, it's probably cheaper to knock it down and build it back up.
I'm sorry, it's Kathy Harrington. Are we allowed to sell a condemned building, Derek?
Sure.
Okay, so sure. Just want to make sure. I'm sure about liability
mean-
for the town.
The truth is, between now and then, the building could end up falling down on its own.
We just,
For
I mean, I
liability.
said that a little tongue in cheek, but as long as everything's appropriately noticed,
Mhm.
that everyone, that all the proper disclosures are provided, then yes.
Okay.
So you can sell the building as its condition.
Okay.
So is there anybody here that wants to keep the building or fix it?
Sadly, no, this is Kathy Harrington. I mean, I voted in favor of fixing the roof last time. We were trying to
Right.
salvage
Yep.
it, we were trying to save it. We
Yep.
did our best, and
Yeah.
Mother Nature's telling us,
It's time to move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
so.
I got the hint.
So then, do we want to refer this to a town meeting?
Yeah,
Did we
yes.
want to decide about whether we want to have DPW tear it down or
Actually, like his idea, let somebody else, I mean, is there immediate safety issue? You said it could fall down.
It's condemned, it's got a lot of deflection, I mean, it's off its foundation in the front corner, and the other corner is now leaning, so if you look at the building from the front, it's leaning. My only concern would be if, for some reason, a kid was over there in that parking lot and walked over there, and then that building happened to fall, what liability that would be, something Derek could answer, but that would be my only real main concern.
How much does that cost you to take it down?
I mean,
If you had to guess.
probably the cost of the dumpster, and then we were paying our guys anyway, so, I mean, the cost of the dumpster.
I'm sorry, this is Kathy Harrington. You have a machine already that can do the actual
Yes.
demolition?
The wheeled excavator that
Okay.
Just got 2 years ago.
got 2 years ago. And then, honestly, we have, the construction debris can go to our own landfill. We could probably bring one of our 50-yard dumpsters down from the landfill and just do it all in-house and really not cost us anything.
Just in consideration, when do we think our next town meeting might be?
Well, if I could jump in on the town meeting part, the decision to sell the property
Mhm.
it lies entirely with the board. So if you were gonna put it out to bid, the board has the authority to do that. The ultimate sale needs to be approved by the
Okay.
town meeting.
I was worried about going forward.
Right, so the process would really be, the board would decide to put it out to bid.
Mhm.
They would, once the bids came in and you went through the bid process, you accepted a bid, that bid would be subject, or the approval of the bid would be subject to town meeting approval. And then, at that point, it would go to town meeting to approve.
Thank you for that clarification, Derek.
So then tonight we would only approve this sale.
Oh, you would approve putting out the bid,
Out the
essentially,
bid.
so.
I would be in favor of taking the building down, just for safety concerns.
It may be more profitable for the town if the building's already down, someone may have a better interest of purchasing that land, I would think, than having to worry about the cost of that. They're gonna put in a lower bid if they know they have to take the building down and the costs incurred in doing that.
I would agree in that assessment. I mean, typically, when someone buys a property that has to be torn down, they factor in the cost of that in order to, before they put their bid.
Did you have any issues or thoughts?
No, that's fine with me. I would say, just knock the building down, don't worry about the foundation, just leave the foundation there and let them,
Yeah.
because that's gonna be, I think, a much bigger project. If you knock it down and get one of our dumpsters to do it, I mean, that's tough to say no
Probably on
to.
a slab, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
It's actually on, CMU's concrete
Is it
masonry
really?
units
Oh,
with
wow.
poured concrete in the middle for the floor. So it's just old CMUs, they're not even filled with concrete. I think that was part of the problem, like normally you would have bolts coming out to attach the sill plate
Yeah.
to. There was nothing there, it was literally just gravity holding that building onto the foundation, so that tree was large enough to shift everything
Yeah.
off.
So just to clarify, Derek, for this motion, if we make it, we can drop off the part where it says refer to town meeting? Okay. So this is Kathy Harrington. I'm gonna make a motion that we sell the property located at 1440 Mountain Road due to structural damage with the understanding that DPW will demolish it, but leaving the foundation.
Okay, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks, Leo.
All right, thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lee.
Good night.
Appreciate your time.
Oh, I guess I can't.
Just stay there.
Bring another chair.
So item number 7 is discussion and approval to accept Tecton for architectural design and educational specifications for facilities master plan. So I sent you guys an email from Kevin Goff just explaining how they got there. He wasn't able to join us tonight, so I have Vice Chair Glenn Nielsen with us. Glenn, you guys are recommending Tecton for this?
Yes, as you, I don't know if you're aware now, we went out to bid. We opened the bids up in your office account. We had 4 bidders. We had Slam Architects out of Glastonbury, Quinsonbury Architects, okay? Hamden, Connecticut was Dean Petroselli, and Tecton, who is a local, the gentleman that represents a local fella here.
They also did our facility study.
Yeah, and he did the study when Melissa was here.
Mhm.
Okay, so, obviously, when we got all done with them, Slam was good, and as you got the document, you see where the money is, okay? Tecton was 47, the other guy was just breaching 100, you know, so, basically, we made the motion, go forward with them, so. Their duties are, number 1, to do the ed spec, okay? Sit with the superintendent of schools, all his people, okay? Basically, do a rendering, where we gotta do, and get us the referendum. So between Colliers and him, they're taking care of that, right, Lee?
That is correct. We actually have a meeting with them tomorrow. The superintendent of schools, myself, Tecton, and one of the members from Colliers.
Kickoff, we have a kickoff meeting tomorrow with them, okay? So I might as well tell you what else is going on, okay?
Wait, can
Well,
I,
it's not really within the
Huh?
agenda item. Are you talking about PPC?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, just stick with the Tecton.
okay, good.
I have a question on the Tecton thing, the school thing. When they get together to do the specs and figure out what the school could look like,
Yeah.
do they have a committee already set up? Like, are they gonna invite a parent or some, or,
So they're gonna do
Other
a very
stakeholders?
thorough group, so it's gonna consist of members of the Board of Education. It's gonna consist of lots of interviews of teachers and staff. There will be public engagement on all of this as well.
Is this from Tecton?
That's
Yeah.
part of the whole thing for.
That's part of his package.
okay, but will there be anyone on that committee from outside of the Board of Ed or the town? Like, will there be,
We haven't gotten
Parents.
that far yet.
Okay.
I'll know more after the
Right.
kickoff meeting
Okay.
tomorrow,
All right.
specifically who they're looking for, and I think the superintendent of school is probably gonna be a lead on that.
okay, I'm
He
jumping,
wants
I'm
to-
ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
I'm ahead of it.
But we'll definitely update you as we
Okay.
get.
Yeah, I think we have PPC coming every 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah, okay, I know.
Yeah, so you can give your update next
Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah.
Okay.
But
Very good.
basically, we're just approving Tecton and
Yeah.
allowing them to move forward,
Yep.
so.
Yeah.
Sounds like the process is moving fairly quickly.
Yeah, we got a meeting tomorrow night, right? You know, I see this guy more than I see my wife.
We're always working.
Yeah.
Anyone
It
have
seems that the bids are so high between 48,000 to 108,000. That's a
Well,
huge,
Kathy, as you know, I was in the business
Mhm.
for 50-plus years.
absolutely.
Here's the deal. Obviously, Tecton did the master plan, okay?
Mhm.
Tecton did that whole thing, that presentation to the BBC, I think the Board of Selectmen back then, maybe some of you folks were here, maybe you weren't here, okay? And he kinda, because he's got a grip on what's going on, you know? Slam being way out there, I mean, this is the first time they've come to town, you know, so, but,
Tecton definitely had an advantage. They already have a lot of information,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
they can do the
yeah,
job.
huge advantage.
When Tecton did the master facilities plan, Kathy, they got all the information on every town building.
Okay.
So they have a big
Wealth
head
of
lead, so
knowledge.
they said, we don't need to spend as much time on it as Slam does, because we already know that they're 6 months ahead of anyone else would have been, so they showed that in their price, which is
Right.
smart of them.
They reflected in that
Yeah.
price,
Yeah.
so our recommendation is basically folks accept them, you know, if they
Yeah.
move forward.
Need a motion, right?
Yeah.
Sure, this is Claire Malenko. I'll motion that we approve to accept Tecton for the architectural design and educational specifications for the facilities master plan.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks again.
Thank you,
Good
gentlemen.
to see you.
See you in a couple weeks.
In a couple weeks after that.
Don't forget, guys, you're invited on December 3rd.
That's it. What time is it at? 2:30?
The fire marshal talked to the principal today,
Okay.
and she said events wrapped up around 2:50, so we'll meet in the parking lot at Raffia Road, over there, right where the main entrance is, probably about 2:45, 2:50, something like that, so.
Perfect.
Fire marshal will do the tour, and
All right,
tell you how the whole thing was put together.
I'm not trying to make it.
perfect. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Made it easy on me.
All right. Item number 8 is discussion and approval of resolution of official intent to reimburse expenditures with bond proceeds for costs related to the facilities master plan project. Since we approved Colliers, that we've just been discussing as a consultant for the facilities master plan, I went over to the Board of Finance, asked them for the funding. One of the questions that was brought up was, are we able to put this into the bond that we currently have? I reached out to Sandra Dawson from Pullman and Comley, who's been helping us along with this. Hey Sandra, can you hear us?
Me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah.
So she gave me the information I shared with you guys, and I also shared with you from Kevin Goff the expected cost summary for pre-referendum costs, but she had a max of $390,000. As you can see, it's already starting to go down since we chose Tecton, based off of the spreadsheet you guys have. You guys have the resolution. It's up to us to figure out if that's what we want to do. The Board of Finance is recommending it. I think it's important to know that under the tax laws, the town may only reimburse itself from bond proceeds for expenditures made within certain time periods of the adoption of the bond resolution. Sandra, do you have anything to add?
Sure. So the question was, if you do go out to bond and you have bond resolution 1 or more approved by town meeting for the facilities plan projects, you can bond for these preliminary expenditures, but only if you have made a declaration that you want to, okay? So when you do a bond resolution and the town meeting approves it, you can only reimburse yourself for expenditures made 60 days prior to that adoption or any time after. Since it could be quite a while, all you're doing with this resolution is you're not appropriating any money, you're not approving any money, you're not doing anything other than adopting a placeholder that will allow you, under the tax laws, should you approve a bond resolution at resolution, should you do that, then you'll be able to reimburse yourself with bond proceeds for these preliminary expenditures.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Yep. Sandra, this is Pete Hill. So we can do future costs. So it's basically, for lack of a better term, a blank check. We could save the numbers and then attach them when we go to bond, or when we decide that we're going to pull the bond. We just add that into the bond, the costs?
Yeah, so if you have, right, any expenditures that come under this declaration of official intent, you would put that in the amount that you want to bond for approval at town meeting.
Okay.
And because you've already adopted this placeholder declaration of official intent, under the tax laws, you will be able to reimburse yourself from those bond proceeds in the future for these expenditures, these preliminary expenditures.
Okay. All right. So it doesn't have to be a set amount, but we can just pay the
No,
bills
I
as
mean,
we
you
go,
can-
and then we can get reimbursed at the end.
Yes, and you can put any amount you want in this resolution, so long as you don't want to reimburse yourself for more than this amount in the future. So there's no real reason to reduce this amount, even though, as you just said, your costs are going down. There's no reason to change the resolution, because this, again, it's not authorizing you to do anything, other than make a placeholder for tax
Got it.
purposes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, anyone have any other questions for Sandra?
No, this is Kathy Harrington, so when we make the motion, we also have to read the resolution, correct?
Correct, you need us to actually read the resolution, it can't be as presented.
You can waive, go ahead and waive the reading.
Okay, so we'll just do it as presented then.
Okay. So this is Kathy Harrington. I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution of official intent to reimburse expenditures with bond proceeds for costs related to the facilities master plan project as presented, and I would waive the reading of that resolution.
All right, the motion has been made, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks, Sandy, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right, item number 9 is discussion with advisory commission on capital expenditures. Chairman, Brad Belcher here today. So we typically don't see, Brad, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you coming out, even though you come out every meeting. So we don't typically see Brad until February when we're approving the capital budget. And I thought it'd be best to maybe bring him out before he starts his process and understand, you know, what he's doing, but also if you guys have any recommendations ahead of time, because every time we see the budget, it's like we have to approve it that night.
Yeah.
So, Brad, I appreciate you coming out. Some of the things you and I have been talking about is long-range planning with our facilities. Now that we have the facilities plan, we're looking at the middle school, the firehouse headquarters. We also realize there's other work on all these other buildings. So I've asked him to work with all the other facilities managers, basically Larry and Lee, to determine like a path forward on what we have to spend, whether we have to put $500,000 a year in capital or $1 million to get us to a good point. And Lee just did the road study, so now we have something to go off of that and say, do we need $100,000, do we need $1 million? We, you know, work on that. If there's other ideas you guys have, I'm asking that you make that recommendation for his consideration over the next few months when he's meeting with these department heads. So Brad, do you have anything for us, or share what your plan is for this budget cycle?
No, you pretty much summed it up. This year's focus, now the facilities master plan is out, is making sure that all those items in there, in that plan are addressed in this year's budget, but more importantly, in the 5-year forecast that we're required to get from all departments. We want to make sure that those costs coming up in the next few years are visible, and we can start to plan for some of them. Some of those numbers could be rather large, so there may be consideration to split projects up or spread things out over multiple years. We want to make sure we're planning for that far ahead of time. We already have a bond that's currently, I don't want to say open, we haven't actually issued the bond yet for the radio project, so maybe some of those projects would get included in something like that, depending on the size. We've already started some of our process. We've sent out notifications to the town departments. All their submissions are due back to us December 1st, which is how it's spelled out in the town ordinances. We're gonna start our meetings probably mid-December, and they're gonna run about one to two per week right through the end of January.
Appreciate that. And it's important to note that I will be having PBC work with him on these facility stuff to kind of give us an order of importance for all the other projects that need to get completed. So on top of all this other stuff they're doing, we're requesting that they get this done this week.
Sure, I know.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions or any suggestions, recommendations? One thing I recommended to Lee this year is to look at all of our fields. So, you know, we put some money into Servion, we put some money into
Into the fields,
Sullivan
I'm sorry.
Field.
Yep.
But I said, look at everything. Get me a total cost to get our fields top notch. I don't know what that's gonna cost, $100,000, $1 million. But at least we can have a plan moving forward. Now we're kind of showing our students or parents and the sports teams that we care about the fields and their
Yep.
activities.
Yep.
Anyone have any other recommendations or suggestions for Brad to consider?
This is Pete Hill. My only recommendation is to put a line item in for, lack of a better term, building maintenance. But I want it, I don't want it to be a blank check for the Board of Ed or for Lee or someone to just say, we're just gonna go do that. But like, you know, I know that McAllister's had bricks falling off of it for years, and we always kick the can down the road, and I think everybody does. But if we put away 200,000, or Lee and Larry could probably come up with a number like, what do you need in an average year for larger maintenance things, not, you know, not replacing a window, but if an air conditioner goes, how much, you know, a condenser unit goes, or something, you know, how much will it cost to repaint bricks? If we have a budget of whatever, a fund of 500,000, and then we keep it at 500,000 every year, and then if something happens, we don't have to go, oh, we'll just take care of it in the next bond, or it can go another year, or, you know, like didn't one of the schools ran with one boiler for about 9 months, because it was extraordinarily expensive. I get that, but if we have that fund, I think it eases everyone's,
That's exactly what we're talking
Yeah.
about. So
Yeah.
PVC is going to give us that
yeah,
order of importance, and then that's how we're gonna spend this money year over year.
Yep.
So that will be a building maintenance fund, rather large one,
yeah,
which we typically haven't had, so.
Yeah, we have, and I agree with that. I think we need to take care of the infrastructure we have. I mean, there's a lot of little things that could be fixed before they become huge things.
And that's where the facilities master plan comes in. There's a lot of, we've already met with, kind of unofficially with Board of Ed, and I've talked to Lee a lot about some of the things that are in that plan and how they're gonna get incorporated in the budget. Some things like brick repointing is a big one.
yeah,
There might be a multi-year project at Spalding to do brick repointing.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much you can get done in 1 year, so doing it all, funding it all in one shot isn't really worth the money.
right,
We're better
right.
off to spread it over years. So that's gonna be some things that come under consideration when we get the official list from Board of Ed.
So, this is Kathy Harrington, you probably already have this in like the 5 to 10 year plan, but just in case, like, looking at the fire trucks again, and, you know, making sure that we don't have any large purchases coming up. I know we've replaced some in the last few years, but I know that others might be coming to end of life, and then also, 2 or 3 years, okay.
Yeah,
And
so
then
heard from the chief.
other large vehicle purchases for DPW. I know we've given them a lot in the last 2 years, but I know there was a lot they asked for that we didn't give them, so I'm sure they'll be coming back looking for more. And then, like, the PD, the cruisers and things like that, just making sure we're, like, our vehicle fleets, that we're, I'm sure you probably already have that
So
managed.
that was our item of emphasis last year was vehicles.
Okay,
One, making sure that we had a good, as Ace had a good understanding of what the town vehicle fleet looked like.
okay,
Turns out we have approximately 120 vehicles that would be an ACE request, you know, enough money to be an ACE request. That was considerably more than I had initially thought we had. So we've been taking a look at that.
okay.
We're looking for updates to that list this year about, you know, things that are replaced over the year and start to forecast out when those will need replacement. Things I've talked to Lee about is potentially just having, similar to like a building maintenance fund, a fund that he can draw from for those vehicles and kind of, I don't want to say leave it up to him on which vehicles to buy, but instead of us having to decide whether they need a big dump truck or a little dump truck, he gets X amount of money a year and he has to manage that however he sees fit. So we're kind of getting some of those ideas around and kind of leaving it more up to them rather than having to justify the individual purchases.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, I think in the past couple of years, we've done a really good job of, with the facilities plan, recognizing that we need to do a better job of future planning, and we're putting the town in a better position than it's ever been in regards to that. We're not kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, no, definitely. I figured you were on top of that, but I figured it didn't hurt to ask, I think, yeah.
No problem.
Great.
Anyone have any other suggestions, recommendations? I just want to say, Brad, you do an awesome job. It's great working with you. You're everywhere. I think you're at every meeting. Somehow bumping you, but you know, you care about the town, you care about our capital assets, and I appreciate everything you do.
No problem. Thank you.
Same.
Yep, thank you.
We'll see you in February.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You know, a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, item number 10 is discussion and approval of easement for solar project at landfill. You guys received the memo, which I believe was from Bill Hawkins. We do have Derek Donnelly here with us, so Derek, I'm just gonna turn this right over to you.
Sure, Derek Donnelly, town attorney for the record. So first, I apologize that you were stuck with me and not another wonderful presentation by Bill Hawkins, which I know everyone enjoys so much. The gold standard in town for presentation, although he's getting up there, so be careful, Bill. So in front of you is the memo. Basically what we're talking about here is a easement to Eversource that's required as part of the solar project at the landfill. For the record, this was on the plans that were approved by planning and zoning, you know, that went through that public process. You'll recall that when we did the resolution of the town meeting, we empowered the first selectman to execute all documents necessary for the, for the continuation of that project. However, because this specific easement needs a specific resolution that Eversource requires, we wanted to bring it in front of you. Also, just a little added transparency for everyone that this is, continuing and taking place as well. So you have a copy of the electric distribution easement. It's been reviewed and is standard. You have a copy of the certification that the town clerk will need to sign following the passage of the resolution. The only one change from the memorandum is that we're going to scrap the suggested motion that's in the memorandum and instead read the actual resolution from the Eversource language. And I've talked to, I believe, Selectman Blanco is going to do that. Also just note that I do see online, if you do have any questions about the project, we've got James Sertanowitz is available online if you do have any questions. But I do think this is fairly ministerial. So with that, if you have any questions, either I can help or James can help.
James, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time. Anyone have any questions for either Derek or James?
I have a question for Derek. Where it says Eversource maintains its facilities at its own expense, that's the facility. So Eversource is responsible the minute they leave the road. We'll have we don't have to plow, we don't have to do any of that.
It's an electrical easement, so,
Okay.
so we're really talking about the power lines.
The power lines,
running
okay.
themselves.
We're not responsible for anything up
Right,
in that
they're
area.
gonna maintain all of that
Everything,
portion of the
okay.
infrastructure.
Thank you.
So,
Any further questions? So really, we just need to make a motion to approve this and then read the,
the motion should be, the actual resolve language, so,
Would be a result.
yeah.
okay.
Sure, okay. Be it resolved that this municipality grant and convey to the Connecticut Light and Power Company, DBA Eversource Energy, a corporation chartered by the General Assembly of the State of Connecticut and having its principal office in the town of Berlin, in the county of Hartford, and state of Connecticut, its successors, and assigns permanent rights for the installation, maintenance, and repair of electric and gas lines over, under, and across land situated at the town of Suffield as set forth in the proposed easement presented to this meeting, which is hereby ordered, filed with the records of this meeting, and resolved that Colin Mole, as the duly authorized first selectman, be, and he hereby is authorized to execute and deliver in the name of the town of Suffield an easement presented to this meeting, and to do any and all other acts to effectuate the foregoing.
Thank you. Do you need a vote on this?
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Derek. Thanks for your time.
There.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 12 is public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? Let's see, okay, Mr. Gauthier's hand up. Could you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Dave Gauthier, Phelps Road. I'm going to comment about the proposed noise ordinance. I'm concerned because I don't think it will pass. I haven't even read it yet. I've asked to read the draft. I don't think it will pass. This is the reason. The blight ordinance didn't pass. And being in the military, we always had an after-action report, whether the operation succeeded or the operation didn't. I don't think you all know exactly why the blight ordinance didn't pass. You've said all sorts of things, but I don't think you really know why it didn't pass. And in my opinion, one of the major reasons it didn't pass was because it was a one-off. There was not a systemic issue. You were targeting one particular landowner. And originally, you omitted wetlands. And happens to be that home was in a wetland. So then you had to modify that. It wasn't systemic. The noise ordinance you're proposing, I haven't read it, it's not a systemic issue. It's a one-off. You're again targeting a specific homeowner or residence or property owner. When you do that, you get all of the other residents in town saying, well, how's that going to affect me? Or could it affect me in the future? Or what are they going to do to me? We don't have a systemic noise issue here, in my opinion. And I don't know why we aren't proposing a text amendment to our zoning regulations. To me, this is a zoning issue. Why not a text amendment to prohibit the activity? It's not the noise, it's the activity that is the issue. And I'll go one step further. I've read the Enfield noise ordinance. This would not apply, in my opinion, on this residence. Because, as a professional musician who performs regularly, music is not noise. Look at the legal definition of music and look at the legal definition of noise. Music is a repetitive, structured sound that's generally pleasing to the ear. Noise is random sounds that are not pleasant to the ear. Tomorrow I'm taking decibel level readings tomorrow on an instrument in Springfield that I perform on. I take those readings regularly. I know the difference between noise and music. And I've read the Enfield ordinance. It definitely defines, in the definitions, excessive noise, which means any sound above a certain decibel level. The problem they have with that ordinance, they define excessive noise, they never, in the entire document, use that term. Never. So they define something, but you never use the term. They don't define noise. They don't define music. They don't define a lot of things. So I'm torn here. The ordinance, I want to read it when you have a draft, and I'll comment on it. I don't think that's going to help here unless you clearly define what noise is to include music over a certain decibel level or whatever. I think you're going to struggle here with this. And I think you need to really take a good, strong look at whether it's a noise ordinance or a sound ordinance. It's really talking about excessive sound. And in this instance, it's not much more than sound, it's the activity occurring, which is really, in my mind, is a zoning text amendment. But I wouldn't want it in my neighborhood next to me, and I hope something gets done to affect a positive outcome on the homeowners that this is affected to. But I think you really need to look at whether it's a noise ordinance or something else, or don't define it, don't copy Enfield's, because that's not going to work, in my opinion. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other public comment in the room? All right, seeing none. Any public comment on Zoom? Any public comment on Zoom? All right. Seeing none, I will move to item 12, which is selectmen updates. I don't have anything beyond saying thank you to everyone who put their name on the ballot in this past election, and congrats to everybody who won. Do you guys have anything else you want to share?
I do. This is Kathy Harrington. Just very quickly, I've been serving as the ex officio for the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I was logged on last night and didn't have an opportunity. It kind of ended a little bit abruptly. There were two members who did not run for re-election, and I just wanted to acknowledge them and their service, which was Erin Golembuski and Scott Gilmartin, who were both, in my opinion, just excellent members that will be missed, and I thank them for their service.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, moving on to item 13, executive session, update on all pending litigation matters. Do I have to read them?
I'll read them if you want.
No, sure. Lhasa Extract versus ZPA, docket AC 47898. Cornish versus Town of Suffield, docket AC 48730. And Cornish versus Town of Suffield, docket PTSC 250156.
Did you invite the town attorney?
And we will invite the town attorney to executive session. All right.
Can you vote on that?
Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Is it? Not bad.
Recording stopped.
Okay.
Progress.
All right, we're coming out of executive session at 8:36, and the next item is action on executive session. There is none, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.